So in the intervening time, I don't know. I was just expressing. I thought this session of dialogue had progressed a lot better, apart from a little moment, a couple of minutes, maybe 4. I was wondering how you felt.
Well, look, it's a conversation I have to have, right? I mean, it's like you're the typical human that I have to get through to eventually. I have to make an argument that where you say, "Oh, I am convinced," rather than "I'm unconvinced." So obviously, I have to have this conversation, and obviously, any practice at having it is going to have some value. Um, I suppose there might be value next time in me interviewing you and maybe scrutinizing where you like why it doesn't impress you. If I say to you, you've never spent any time in your life, not any significant amount of time in your whole life, lamenting the absence of the Martians. Okay, now why haven't you done that? Because you really don't see any value in their existence unless you could eat them, or unless they were going to give you free ice cream, or they were going to give you a cure for cancer. You really don't think they have any value. So why do humans have value?
Well, let's do that. Yeah, I'm up for that. I'm happy to do that to take the other point of view, and
All right, so I'll prepare some questions I'll ask of the typical human perspective and why you are unimpressed by these arguments. Why, like
well,
I said,
I'll
these
just leave
thought
you.
experiments make no impact on your on your understanding. You know how you think about 10,000 pecked to death sea turtles without it saying to you, "Oh hell, that really isn't worth it."
Well, I can hint towards it in some sort of closing statement, I guess, because I, I had some thoughts in the cessation of internet connection, and that was as I reflected on where you stake out your camp in the idea that there are only negative values. That leaves me, by definition, nowhere to go, and that I have to fight you in maybe a subsequent over that definition a little bit, because everything I might offer is defeated by that premise. Not in a logical sense, but as a premise, it negates anything that I might offer. So I have
Well,
to.
I know. I mean, that's the dilemma, though, right? Because, yeah, the truth is that the real kick-ass stuff that the human race has done has usually been stuff to prevent harm. You know, curing diseases and coming up with a polio vaccine, or, you know, these are all the great things because they stop people from suffering, not because they did something good. They did something good because they got rid of a bad.
Uh, let's not go there at this time. That's within your value scheme. I understand
Well,
that.
I'm just saying. I mean, you would argue that there really is something else we've done that's been grander than the times when we have avoided harm. That the top 10 human events weren't events that had something to do with preventing harm or negating harm.
Offhand, I'd be inclined to agree with you. Thinking about it, but that doesn't mean that there are only um, those
Well,
values.
I'm not saying you know. Again, I say there aren't only, but you know, I'm just saying it. The real point I'm making though is that if I take the top 10, or that I take the 90 out of 100, or if I take 900 out of 1,000, I'm still going to be able to weight the argument that the negative is the more compelling circumstance, and that's why we don't miss the Martians. Is because the negative that would be brought by having Martians would probably outweigh any value they produced.
Hmm. Well, let's park that. Next time we'll take the opposite point of view. You can ask me about it as a typical human being who isn't seeing your schema of value systems in quite the same light that you are, and see where that takes us. I think I should like an opportunity just to um, redress some of the ideas that I'm going to have to percolate through my mind about this particular discussion.
Good enough. We can do a, back and forth, and then we can do a third one where we mix the two subjects together or whatever. But
I
hopefully,
must say I do respect the fact that you like are prepared to take all comers. You know what I mean? I mean, I find some philosophical types, really dismissive of engagement if you're not up to speed with a particular argument, or if you don't see the questions at issue the way they do, they just disengage and they say you're not educated enough. But um, and
yeah,
it
no,
can be
but
frustrating.
I deserve no credit because obviously I allow my temper to get the best of me. But regardless, yeah, I do want to have the conversation, and I do get frustrated in the conversation, but I'm not afraid of the conversation. I am certainly willing to have the conversation.
Well, if you can assume that in all honesty, I'm not attempting to malign your position or anything, and that I just merely make an honest mistake, then yeah, we can move forward productively, perhaps. I've spent a hell of a lot of time talking to Trick, and trying to just thrash out to and fro emails about certain things, and it's a genuine interest, as I've said in my videos. If it can be, if I can be persuaded, then try to persuade me. But yeah, so it's been good. Um,
All right, we'll try it again next week.
yeah, okay. Cheers, bye.
Okay, take care.